let's watch a video about most likely game developers creating attractive women in games. The thing everyone wants to see. Oh, here we go again. Yes. Hot chicks. Oh my god.
A few weeks ago, I was sitting in a meeting with a lead designer and the chief creative officer of CI Games, watching them redesign a female character in front of me, based on feedback that I was giving them in real time. And about halfway through, I remember thinking, this is crazy. Crazy that I am in here, first of all, but crazier still that they were genuinely wanting to hear what I had to say. We have gotten so used to studios that do not care what their players think. Studios that just...
Oh yeah, all the Western studios. All of them. Without a second thought, all the Western studios.
Just tell you what you should want, and yet here I was suggesting a necklace on a seraph and watching them draw it on. In 2026, one of the most radical things a video game studio can do is ask its players what they actually want to see, and then listen to the answer. And while that should be a bar that's easy to clear, AAA in particular seems to have a really difficult time with this. Just look at the last few months. We are drowning.
Yes, but that's because the companies that own the studios want them to create those characters because that's politics. They want to destroy. They want to destroy culture and society. That's what that is there for. You think there's a difference in an opinion from a woman and from a man, though? Sure there is, because man and woman are not the same. It's very simple.
In hero shooters and extraction shooters that nobody asked for. Highguard, Horizon Hunters Gathering, Marathon, which Marathon alone cost $250 million and has lost almost 70% of its player base since launch. Even Halo is now reportedly getting in on the extraction shooter trend. Yikes. Now
Wait, what? Oh god, no. Why? Why do they have to be so stupid? You don't need to follow every trend. The extraction shooter thing is big now, but in 2-3 years that's over already. We are at the peak of extraction shooter right now, and that's mostly because of Arc Raiders. And Arc Raiders is dying because of the developers fumbling their success. They don't know how to run a proper live service game. That's a huge problem with the company, I think.
Now, compare all of that to studios that take feedback in stride and make beneficial improvements. Of course, we know the recent ones, Crimson Desert, Monster Hunter Wilds, but also titles like Sea of Thieves, Street Fighter V, Final Fantasy XIV, No Man's Sky, of course, and even Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I was reminded of recently, and that included DICE and EA removing a bunch of the predatory pay-to-win monetization that was included in the game at launch. All very different games, but ones that ended up taking the exact same approach, listening to player feedback, implementing it well, and ultimately being rewarded for it. Because when players feel heard, it is clear that they can be pretty forgiving. And while we have touched on this for a few videos now, we often see this really great comeback story that happens with games that have launched to back.
Usually games are made for male audience, so asking an opinion to a woman seems off. The thing is, man and woman when it comes to games, I mean actual games, I don't mean Candy Crush. I don't mean cozy games, I mean actual games where you actually have to do stuff, you know? Man and woman actually, when it comes to that, like pretty much the same things. Pretty much. I mean, of course there are differences in, you know, in the fine print. But for example, man and woman want to see characters that are not ugly. At least that. And I can tell you because, well, it's VTubers. When I watch women, it's mostly VTubers, and it's and also Aspergott said that it's a perfect, it's perfect. So if women don't want to cosplay a character of a game, you know that the games will have problems. Like asking men for like The Sims is dumb. Yes, because The Sims is definitely, absolutely, 100% made for women. 100%. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Absolutely. And then there is this a new Sims-like game from Korea that came out or is about to come out, and that looks nothing like The Sims. And yeah, it's actually even at least visually also appealing to men. You're sure men would want big boobs and asses. No, the thing is, what is a big ass? What are big boobs? I mean, there's always, you know, a certain degree to too much or not enough. It looks amazing, so realistic. Well, not The Sims, but the Korean game. Let me show you. Oh. Yeah.
Bad or mixed reception and have managed to claw their way back to a much better place with their audience. CI Games and Lords of the Fallen is a really great example of that exact arc, and I ended up getting the chance to speak with them directly about it. Which brings us to today's video. I am so excited to say I had the opportunity to partner with CI Games to show off 5 never-before-seen female character designs for the upcoming Lords of the Fallen 2. We are also going to talk about how CI Games, a mid-sized studio, has spent the last 2.5 years since the Lords of the Fallen launch in 2023, building something really special while still making meaningful updates to their original game, and how at their core, they are a studio that refuses to be lectured or gaslit into making a different game than the one that they have set out to make. A game built by gamers for gamers. They really are a great example of how not to do all the things that we are always asking developers not to do. So let's get into it. If you have been here for any amount of time, you already know female characters in gaming is the topic we keep coming back to, and not because—
Yes, over and over and over again. By the way, the game looks like something that, yeah, dudes want to play that. Absolutely, 100%. Dudes want to play that. It's dark, it's metal, it's big enemies, big swords. Yeah, definitely a game for men.
Because I necessarily want to keep coming back to it, but because the industry, notably Western AAA, has just given us so many reasons to over the years. Normally by following the pattern in some way, shape, or form. You know the one. Shout out again to the 1348X Photo devs for reminding—
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Ugly woman. Ugly woman in a game. By the way, in this game, this character is a lesbian and she has a girlfriend, and the entire game she tries to free her girlfriend, and at the end they fight each other to the death. The usual lesbian relationship.
us of it recently with their "why would you necessarily expect a woman to be attractive" tweet. Never gets old. The same desaturated color palettes, the overtly tactical outfits, the stripped down femininity, almost like an embarrassment of the female body itself. Hips and busts get slimmed down, shoulders and jawlines get bulked up, and anything that reads as too feminine quietly gets dialed back. On top of that, our strong, modern female characters tend to get handed very similar personalities. Emotionally walled off, constantly annoyed, or very sarcastic. They are weighed down by some past trauma. She is often complex and nuanced, but is capable of girl bossing her way through most situations, which is really just an industry code for she honestly kind of sucks. Basically, the pattern is turning our female character into a toxic male character in an androgynous looking female body. And we have seen how players respond to these types of characters every single time. Mixed reviews if they are lucky, actual flops if they are not, or just zero hype around the character at all. But good news, because on the other hand, we have also talked about current games and studios that are getting it right.
Oh, that looked...
On the other hand, we have also talked about current games and studios that are...
This looks amazing. Even when it comes to character creation, man players just make the ugliest and weird characters. Because it's funny. Because it's funny, it's all a joke. And then when we create, you know, a female character, that's our ideal type, or girlfriend, or wife. Literally. I've seen, there was a video, woman was filming her boyfriend creating a female character, and literally the character looked like her. But she was complaining, of course.
Getting it right. Claire Obscure, Stellar Blade, Baldur's Gate, the Monster Hunter Wilds girls.
Oh boy.
Female characters who are beautiful, capable, feminine, sometimes deadly, and surprise, surprise, people couldn't get enough of them. Which brings us to CI games, because
people love women. Especially attractive women. Yeah, what a surprise. To no one. To literally no one. I mean, isn't there a saying or something like that, and like that attractive people have it easier in life, which is true. Attractive people have it easier in life, and everyone acknowledges that. Yes.
When you have been watching this same cycle play out for years, and then a studio comes along and breaks it, and is openly vocal about why they are breaking it, you tend to want to pay attention. But before we get into the brand new character reveals, I want to talk a little bit about what the CI Games team has actually been doing over the past few years, because these characters do not just materialize out of thin air, they are the result of something this studio has been building for a long time. All right, I have to admit, I was actually pretty late to the Lords of the Fallen party. I remember hearing about the original like way back when, and I was aware of the 2023 release, which launched to pretty polarized reception, but it was only recently that...
Really? Lords of the Fallen sounds like 2023's most divisive Soulsborne. Reviews are all over the place for the action RPG reboot. It's a reboot? Okay.
I actually sat down to play it, and I really enjoyed it. Yes, I had the occasional frustrations with Umbral mechanics, like physically getting myself out of Umbral, and I'm pretty sure I was also stuck on the Pieta boss longer than I was supposed to be, so the skill issues showed up pretty early and often for me, unfortunately. But overall, I had a lot of fun. Back to the 2023 release though, Lords of the Fallen launched back in October of 2023. While the bones of the game were absolutely there, a very ambitious, dual world design with gorgeous art direction, and a real participant of the Souls-like genre, there were also some legitimate issues. Performance and how the game ran, balance, and generally just some rough edges kind of overall that resulted in frustration from players. In a moment like that, most studios can do one of a few things. They can double down and tell the players that they're wrong. They get defensive with their audience, they go quiet, or they just back out completely and start working on the next project like this first one never happened. But CI Games didn't do any of those things. They took the feedback in stride and just got to work. What followed was over...
Or you do the marathon thing and announce that you're working on a battle royale mode for Marathon. Why was that game an extraction shooter to begin with then? Man, I think Bungie is fucked.
For the next 2.5 years, they shipped over 70 updates, and we're talking like big, actual meaningful patches, full reworks, expansions, the whole thing. Version 2.5, the final major update, dropped in December 2025 and brought a brand new veteran mode and reworked enemy encounters across the entire game 2.5 years after launch, and they were still cooking, wanting to give players the absolute best experience possible. The best part is that the community feedback consistently made its way into those updates in things like the lamp guidance system, the UI overhauls, the co-op rework. None of that came from of a marketing team or a focus group telling them what modern players want. It came from players asking and CI Games actually listening. On top,
well, yeah, that's what a successful game. Oh my god, that freeze frame. I'm so sorry, pretty lady. But yeah, that's what successful game studios do. They listen to their players. YNG Games does that, and they are very successful. And then we have studios like Bungie that don't do that, and they are dying. Or even worse, studios like I don't even remember how the studio was called. The one that made Highguard. The high ups didn't even listen to the developers, because the developers wanted the game to be tested by people from the outside, but the CEO, the higher ups said no, it's awesome. Yeah, it was for maybe a weekend.
top of that, they did want to be as communicative as possible with their community. Community posts, roadmaps, dev diaries, and they even created a YouTube series called Lifting the Veil, where the team literally walks players through combat changes, new systems, the whole Umbral rework, which also includes behind-the-scenes conversations with the people making the game. The dev team is also genuinely active on places like Reddit, Discord, X, like real engagement with real players where they are talking with you instead of at you. But probably my favorite part of this whole story happened early 2025 when the CEO, Marek Tominsky, just casually started running open polls on his personal X account, asking players directly what they wanted to see in the upcoming sequel. No fancy, expensive consulting firm or focus group of 20 college students who have never played a Souls-like in their lives, just a CEO and gamer on Twitter asking other gamers what they wanted to see across various aspects of the game, but also, you know, he wanted their take on hot female characters. And the answer to one of those polls was completely unsurprising. Players want beautiful, visually striking characters, and Souls-like audiences in particular love iconic character designs. So naturally, once several Western journalists
everyone likes beautiful people, with the exception of people that are ugly. Ugly people a lot of times hate beautiful people, especially if these ugly people are women. I mean, I don't need to tell anyone that ugly woman, you know, they hate attractive women. I think that's common knowledge, right? We all know that, right? So yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, there are in World of Warcraft, literally in vanilla, there was one female character. I forgot how she's named. From the Crusade in undead areas. Man, that character, very well designed, and everyone was into her. Literally, everyone loved her. Man, I've seen things of her. And yes, everyone likes good designed characters. Everyone. I mean, what are we talking about? Of course everyone does that, right? Why wouldn't you? You have to be crazy to rather have an ugly character than a pretty character. Or an attractive character. I mean, it's not... Man, it's not even... That shit isn't even deep. It's literally just how humans are.
Caught wind of these polls, they obviously took this in great faith and gave them the praise they deserved for being so open and communicative with their own player base. I'm just kidding. Clearly, Lords of the Fallen 2 was now going to be labeled the worst thing that they could think of, Gunnar bait. And in case anyone needs reminding, these are the same studios that actually were losing it over Leon and Requiem. Goon for me, but not for they. This one paragraph from a Kotaku article literally made me laugh out loud. They wrote, and I quote, "Lords of the Fallen 2 won't have a political agenda, but it will have hot women."
And that's why you don't need to listen to anything that a games journalist puts out. Don't read it, don't listen to it, because it's always stupid. Always stupid.
Like, that is somehow supposed to be a bad thing. That is according to the director of the studio behind the sequel, who is busy with culture war dog whistles, while fans just want a new Souls-like that learns from the mistakes of the previous game. Huh? I'm pretty sure the CEO was just running a couple of open Twitter polls asking gamers what they wanted. Although, you know what? I do think that they were maybe onto something, just not in the way that they meant it, because for me, when a studio does actually get a female character right, when they are communicative with their player base, it is kind of like a dog whistle, just in a good way. It is usually a sign that the studio is listening to their audience and hasn't been completely ideologically captured by whatever the loudest voices online are demanding.
Yep,
now, obviously,
exactly.
like we have said before, a pretty character isn't going to save a bad game. You do still need real substance, but when
Of
I see a
course.
studio nailing it on this front, it at least gets my attention, and I tend to start paying attention to what else they are doing right. On top of that, CI Games announced two pretty big things just last month. First, the original Lords of the Fallen has officially sold 2.5 million copies, which, congratulations. And second, they closed an additional 19 million in funding specifically for Lords of the Fallen 2. The official wording from the studio—
Wait, 19 million in funding? We just closed the book building, raising almost, man. Is being built entirely on your feedback. We will deliver exactly what you want. That sounds great. Huge thanks to all the investors who got excited about our players' first vision. They know now. They know listening to players is rule number one for success, and now we have the fuel to fully unleash it. You will see. Things like this get me more excited than a trailer, because, you know, man, the games trailer that we see these days for all these bad games with bad designs, yeah, they don't get anyone excited. But this, oh yeah, we will give you people exactly what you want. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, thank you.
studio is that the money will be used to diversify distribution channels, which I will just let you read between those lines however you would like to. Something that catches my attention with this even further is that investors do not usually drop 19 million on just vibes, you know? Maybe Sony investors do, I don't know. But they saw the last 70 plus updates over the last couple of years, the reception around the alpha footage of the game, the community engagement coming from the top down, and they saw a studio that actually listens and delivers on what they promise, and is not scared to make the game its players actually want. It's interesting to see how it normally tends to work out for studios that focus on making a great game first, while actually treating their players with respect and like the paying customers they are. But about the—
which is a huge problem with other studios that all say, oh, our games are so great, you're all sexist and stuff like that. They literally hate their customers. And they are saying that openly. Many such cases in the past. Many.
Those pesky female characters journalists could not stop writing about. Let's get into them. Like I said at the start, a few weeks ago, I did get the chance to sit down with CI Games Chief Creative Officer Ryan Hill. Yes, his British accent does sound exactly as cool as he looks. I just need everyone to know that. And we walked through 5 brand new character designs for Lords of the Fallen 2, none of which have been shown off publicly, so I am beyond honored that they, for some reason, asked Lil Ol Me to show them off. Quick fun fact about Ryan is that before he moved into games, he actually spent some years working in the women's fashion industry, so he has a lot of thoughts about the current state of the modern female characters, and he has got a real understanding of silhouettes, fabric, how femininity translates into design, and how women actually want to look. I got on the call. These designs were mostly complete.
That's literally cool. Yes. A guy that knows how to design clothes for women is working on the design of women in games. That's awesome. That's great. More of this, please.
but not fully finished. They were still actively working on them, and they genuinely wanted my thoughts in real time. We would be looking at a character and I would say something and they would just start adjusting it on the screen in front of me. I've never had that much power in my life, and it felt great, I won't lie. But while we spoke, it was so incredibly clear to me that they are working very hard to make a game that their players will love every aspect of. They genuinely do care about their audience and the things that they have to say, and they want to make their experience as great as possible. So as we get into each character, it'll probably become pretty obvious that the style is that of a heavy metal Souls-like, fire and brimstone, and just very theatrically dark, and definitely a more aggressive tone than their first game. Also, while I am a lore enjoyer, I definitely am not a Lords of the Fallen lore expert. Everything you are about to hear is based on what I learned from the original game and what the team shared with me. So consider this more of like a vibe check rather than a full deep dive into the lore, but with that out of the way, let's meet the ladies. First up, we have the Dark Justiciar, who is an—
Oh boy, this looks awesome. Yeah. I want to play as her, and I want to fight her as an enemy. I mean, both is fine with me. She's awesome, great design. Yeah, this is awesome. We will see a lot of cosplays of her. I can already tell you.
Enforcer of the Dark Crusaders, an elite military order, Divine Judgment. She is lined in leather and steel and has completely unwavering faith. The lore actually calls them battle maidens who serve as judge, jury, and executioner, and the design—
Battle maidens, huh? I can see that, yeah. Absolutely, 100%, yeah. That's a maiden that doesn't need saving.
tells you kind of exactly who she is at the first glance. With her horned helm and more of a grounded silhouette, she is designed to feel like someone who shows up to pass a sentence on you. You see her, you understand the design, and you instantly know what role she plays in this world, which is exactly what good character design is supposed to do. But that—
Also, we all remember the times when all these journalists and activists come and attack men for, oh, you're scared of strong women. No, we aren't. You hate strong women. No, we aren't. We love this. We love this woman. This woman is awesome. And welcome back. This design is great. This is awesome. And yes, a strong woman. Awesome. Sadly, there are so few.
without a single line of dialogue, you already know everything you need to know, and you still want to know more. And what I really love about her is that she is just one of those characters that is deeply beautiful, but also terrifying at the same time, and she kind of shows how those things can enhance each other. A simpler woman like myself might describe this phenomenon as scary horny, and it is a real and valid design philosophy. Next up, Calanthea. She is an all-driven vampire among the cruelest of her kind, and she is both the sister and the lover of Lord Cadigan. Yes, you did.
Oh, we hear that right. Okay, yeah, okay. So, oh my god, yeah, man, this is, yeah, these designs, I'm very, very intrigued. This is awesome. We will also see a lot of cosplays of her. Calm down. I mean, I'm still calm, but it's hard to be calm if you see this.
Did hear that correctly. When I was reading the lore notes, I actually had to go back and reread that section to make sure that was correct. It was. Gothic opera indeed. She also runs something called a theater of torture, where humans are her performers and their debut act is usually their last, which I really love that bit of lore. Whoever wrote that, bonus this quarter for you, I hope. Okay. Aurieleth, probably my favorite character that we worked on. Lore-wise, she is the captain of the Seraphs, a highest order of Orius' faithful, who is—
This is great. Yeah. So, guys, do we like these concepts, these pieces of art? Do we like these strong and independent women that clearly don't need a man, but I can guarantee you they like them? Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait for people on Twitter to fix the art and make them fat. They don't need a man or a bra. Yeah. Yeah. Everything is exactly where it should be, right? Man, this art looks awesome. It really does.
The God of Light, a radiant warrior who is anointed to enact his divine will. Her armor is described as something that heralds the arrival of divine reckoning from afar. Almost kind of like the Silver Surfer, I guess, but
you're gonna wear this for Halloween? Nice.
Speaking of which, her design is gold on gold. On gold armor that is meant to be seen from very far away, and she is built to inspire and intimidate at the same time, which I feel like can be such a hard balance to pull off sometimes, but they absolutely nailed it. She looks gorgeous. Okay, yeah, this was the character we ended up spending a really good chunk of time on in the meeting, and I had a lot of thoughts on her hip armor and her shoulder armor, and I asked if we could lean a little harder into just slimming out her figure and putting more focus on her décolleté so that all of the beautiful armor work could really breathe on its own. And again, it was just so fun to see the team just adjust these things in real time while we were on this call. I even asked if they could give her a necklace, and they drew it on while I was watching. And to quickly touch on that, I am not a designer. I am not a 3D artist. I am just a girl on the internet who likes pretty characters. But the fact that they were so genuinely excited about my feedback, that's kind of the whole point. Because listening to your audience doesn't mean just blindly doing whatever some random voice tells you to do. The best devs take feedback, sit with it, and figure out how to bring it to life in a way that is actually serving what they are trying to do. And of course,
exactly, which, by the way, is exactly what Grinding Gear Games does with Half-Life, with Half-Life 2, of course, with Path of Exile 1 and 2. They listen to the players, and then they fix stuff. Or create stuff that's not even there yet. That's what good developers do. And then you have the people that go, oh yeah, we don't care what you think. Here, do this. Awesome.
Of course, anyone can just nod along with you, but the studios that take in feedback, weigh it against their own creative vision, and are capable of implementing it very thoughtfully, those are the ones who are able to stand the test of time. And that was honestly the takeaway that I had with this meeting. They weren't just saying yes to things to make me feel good. You could tell that they were genuinely thinking about whether or not each suggestion actually served the character in the absolute best way. To get us back on track though, this is the Radiant Priestess, and if you think that her armor looks similar to Oriolith, you are correct. She belongs
a literal plate bikini. A literal plate bikini. Oh, this is great. Man, all the cosplays of these characters will be amazing. This is going to be awesome. You know, I said that earlier, I think even today, that having art like this on the box of a game back in the day made me at least want to buy the game. And this is also how you sell mediocre games. You put hot chicks on the cover, and then horny teenagers go, oh, I want that. And then they buy a game that's not as good as the art.
Belongs to the same divine order as her, same gold armor, which again, I am in love with, same heavenly aesthetic and overall vibe. But where Oriolith is more of a warrior, the priestess is kind of like the conduit. She is a vessel of Orius, again, who is the god of light, sustaining her allies with holy magic and demolishing her enemies with sanctified steel. Usually deployed under a seraph like Oriolith, the lore describes her purification process as immolation beneath holy light, which is just an extremely cool way to say, I will set you on fire in the name of God. I love how
nice.
they made her a bit softer too, and it fits the more spiritual aesthetic that they were going for. The flowing white fabric, the slender spear instead of a sword. At a glance, you can kind of tell she's more support oriented, which again, I love storytelling through character design. And last, but certainly not least, we have the Trelesi Huntress. She was once a pre-runation ranger devoted to protecting the Bloodbloom of Throngar. That's a lot of...
This looks cool. This looks vibe. This looks heavy metal. This looks just great. And the detail here on the feet. That's neat. Stop looking. You're just jealous. Is it me, or did all of them have white grayish hair? I think they all had. This is great. Yeah, this is great art. This actually reminds me of the art that I've seen in my Conan books. This literally could be from Iberia. From the Conan tales. This is amazing. I love this. You know, if Conan would meet this woman, yeah, he would like her.
Words, which is a blood-nourished flower that the Trelesi cult worships, but this character's softly spoken prayers soon turn into blood-soaked rituals, and it is a classic tragic corruption arc. And what is so cool is you can start to see it in her design. It is the furthest departure from the more armored characters that we just looked at, signaling that she is a much more ancient, much more earthy, organic, and feral character, and there is a wildness to her that the others just don't have. This one I really got into during the meeting. We talked about her helmet, we tweaked her footwear, and at one point I even suggested maybe changing up the cloth armor on her legs and adding a chain detail around her foot to help kind of tie it in a bit more with the rest of her armor, which they agreed and added those changes in. Again, just a reminder, I am really not an artist by trade, so getting to watch something like that actually happen in front of my eyes in real time and knowing that it has ended up in the final design is genuinely one of the coolest gaming experiences that I've ever had. But that brings us to...
By the way, here, this line, I have a thing for a good midriff when it comes to women, and she has exactly that. So yeah, I'm all in. This design is great. It's really good.
Is genuinely one of the coolest gaming experiences that I've ever had. But that brings us to the end of these characters. 5 completely different designs, 5 completely different roles, all getting the same level of care and intention poured into each and every one of them. And remember, these are the kinds of characters the Lords of the Fallen community specifically asked for. Beautiful, aspirational, visually striking, iconic. CI Games asked the question, the audience answered, and this is what showed up on the other side of that conversation, which I think is so cool and honestly should be way more common than it is. Imagine if every studio just asked us our thoughts about things sometimes, instead of just always assuming and telling us what we should want. And like I have...
Well, the good studios do. That's the thing, the good studios ask those questions.
Said before, while I love beautiful characters, there has to be substance for a game to be great. And from my conversations with them and looking at their track record, CI Games is not a studio that is only focused on making pretty characters. The 70+ updates...
Well, you can very clearly see in the cinematic here. Because damn, a lot of these characters that we are seeing here are not pretty, but they are damn cool.
The polls that they've run, the dev diaries that they've put out, the 19 million in investing, the whole Umbral rework, that is the same studio making these beautiful characters. These designs did not just appear randomly. The same mindset that produced them is the exact same mindset behind every other good decision that this studio has made for the past 2.5 years. That mindset being respect your audience, sweat every detail, and overall just make a great game you actually want to play. The characters and the gameplay are not 2 separate wins. They
Of
are the
course not.
same win that is happening twice. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for being here, and a huge thank you again to CI Games for partnering with me on this and for trusting me with the reveal of some of your fabulous ladies. I am still kind of in disbelief that I got to be a part of it, and I am also incredibly grateful to all of you for being so supportive for my content and for giving me the opportunity to even do something like this in the first place. Thank you so much. I am so thankful for you. Now, Lords of the Fallen 2 is still in development and it is slated for a release later this year. While we don't know exactly
So close. Oh, to be fair, there's too much going on at the end of this year for me to get this game. At the end of this year. There's too much going on. Path of Exile 2, a release of 1.0. And the next big update for Arc Raiders, which hopefully will be good. But we will see.
how that launch is going to go just yet. What I will say is this: based on everything CI Games has shown us over the last 2.5 years, I am genuinely excited and I cannot wait to see more of this game. Let me know in the comments which of the 5 designs is your favorite. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.
Man, this was great. This was perfect. Oh my god. These characters are man, they're so beautiful. And yes, I can already tell you that to be fair, for some people, these characters might actually be the reason to buy the game. I can guarantee you that for some people, that will be the reason. Now, not for me. They're only part of the reason. But yeah, this was great. Awesome designs. Great looking game. Great looking game. Very great looking game. And yeah, you are learning a lot, right?